Hello again, everyone. It's This Week in Agribusiness meteorologist Greg Solier. We're back in for Max Armstrong. Welcome to Farm Progress Dateline Drought. Our continuing coverage of the drought of 2012 is brought to you by Genuity Drought Guard Hybrids. Anything but a December feel of late, and it really continues on over the next couple of weeks with an absence of any early winter cold. Temperatures back and forth from about normal to generally slightly above normal to many days, well above normal. Not done with the 50s and 60s. Mighty comfortable with outdoor work and livestock operations in mind. Certainly need moisture, and we need it big time across Nebraska, Kansas, the heart of the plains. Unfortunately, it gets wrung out Pacific West and Northwest over the next few weeks for openers. Jumping the divide, those weather systems will dry out on their march across the plains, re-energize over the Mississippi Valley, and swing to the east and northeast. At least in the short term, moisture continues on. Southeastern states will make some drought improvement into sections of Georgia. Up and down the eastern seaboard, maybe some further recovery delays into parts of the northeast and New England from Sandy. And again, a good go of it with outdoor operations in mind across the Midwest, but we do see some additional moisture prospects coming in over the next 3 to 5 weeks, and no sign of any supercharged cold air. Matter of fact, we'll take a look at that 6 to 10 day and a 3-month outlook. The 3-month outlook from the folks at the National Weather Service. Out across the western states, the moisture machine continues on. Matter of fact, let's take a look at it, if you will. Another 3 to 5 northern and some central valley locales of California. Pacific Northwest, another 5 to 6 inches. Big snows. Boy, we should get some of those to line up across the Rockies and ultimately melt down into areas of the Great Plains. Few hundredths of an inch for parts of the Dakotas. Looks like the next couple of days, with another frontal boundary on the move later this week, an upper disturbance will ring out quarter to three-quarter local 1-inch amounts, Wabash Valley, into areas of the Mid-South. Well, on to temperatures the next 6 to 10 days. This is an indicator of a big upper trough swinging through the west with cold air dumping in. Warmth across the east in between a strengthening southwest to northeast jet stream pattern. Good news if you're looking for moisture. Maybe we'll get the snow season going over some sections, the upper Midwest, northwestern Corn Belt, northern plains. This will be primarily rain, lower Great Lakes region to the Delta and points on to the east and southeast. Just for kicks, let's just take a look at that 3-month winter outlook from the folks at the National Weather Service, and suggesting perhaps a little more cold air into the upper Midwest. Warmth across the west. We think there'll be wide swings of temperature readings, but it is what it is. A colder pattern over the northeastern two-thirds of the country, and from a moisture standpoint, pretty much benign looking over much of the Midwest, with the exception of the Delta into areas of the Ohio Valley. Some semblance, they think, of an active weather pattern there, and back to dry time, contrary to El Nino, across sections of the West. Well, that's a check on weather, and now it's on to Bryce Knorr and a look at markets.
There was bullish news all around when grain traders reported to work this morning, sending prices to double-digit gains across the board. But by the time the dust settled after the close in Chicago, soybeans were just about the last man standing. Beans benefited from news both real and perhaps imagined. The reality of more heavy rain soaking already waterlogged fields in Argentina raised prospects for planting delays and flooding at a time when the world needs big crops in South America. Export inspections were also strong in the latest week at 51.1 million bushels, with China accounting for 73% of that total. Soybeans also found strength earlier in the session from a positive tone in financial markets, which rallied earlier in the morning on Wall Street hopes for improving Chinese growth. But some weak data on U.S. manufacturing turned the stock market sour. Beans lost some of their gains during the session, but firm near the close. January futures ended up 15 cents to 14.53 3/4 after once again being unable to take out upside chart resistance. Corn also benefited from concerns about Argentina, though its export business remains less than brisk. Inspections reported today totaled just 9.6 million bushels, well below last week, trade guesses, and the rate forecast by USDA for the marketing year. Year-to-date totals are down almost by half. Still, March corn closed up 2 cents at 7.54 3/4. Those Argentine rains are even affecting the wheat market, making some buyers reluctant to take orders from the country. Friday's price break made U.S. soft red and white wheat competitive again on the world market, with Egypt buying 10.3 million bushels of those classes over the weekend. A sharply lower dollar is also helping make U.S. wheat more competitive, but prices didn't overcome a weak open. While the plains looks mostly dry this week, forecasts are starting to look a little more promising for the eastern and northern ends of the hard red winter wheat belt. Chicago March finished down 2 3/4 at 8.60 3/4. Kansas City dropped 6.5 to 9.06 3/4, and Minneapolis settled down 4.5 at 9.32 1/4. Keep up with the drought situation across the country by visiting www.datelinedrought.com.